I'm not quite in frame. So here's a crazy idea. Watching every shoujo anime. So I've always been pretty interested in shoujo. There's something about it that really resonates with me from what I've seen of it, both aesthetically and thematically. It's something I really gravitate towards. There's something about it that just makes me want to watch more of it and understand it. And I think there's something to be said for that appeal of really understanding the entirety of something. I've always wanted that. It's something that always interests me, this idea. And it's kind of the reason I have this weird method of watching anime where it's usually I try to watch like everything, but I'm not a completionist, but I do want to experience everything. I want to get a taste and have a sense that I, have some sort of broad understanding. And it's just that I find being a completionist ends up hindering that more so than helping it, at least for me, because you end up spending so much time on works that aren't really enriching your viewing, like your broader viewing experience. So, here's the plan. I'm gonna be watching every single shoujo anime, or at least trying it, watching like the first few episodes, whatever subbed. If it's unsubbed, maybe I'll watch it, maybe I won't. I might like check out the first episode, because I don't speak Japanese, so understanding is limited. But basically, gonna go through Mahou. I'm going to the shoujo anime tag on Mahou, and sorting by date started, going all the way the farthest back, because I want to talk more about shoujo anime in my videos, but I really feel like I don't have a strong enough foundation compared to talking about other elements of anime. So I want to build that foundation, and I think it would be a fun, interesting project. It's always cool to see how things progress over time. I think it would be neat to do. Is the shoujo tag on Mahou perhaps not the most accurate? Probably. Are there better ways to do this? Most definitely. Will I likely lose interest in the series at some point and it just comes to an abrupt halt? Most definitely also. That's kind of inevitable with something like this, but I think it'll be fun to do and see how far we get. So let's have a look. So going all the way back, we're scrolling down. These things are like not really relevant to us, and they also don't have dates on them at all, which is why they're at the bottom. But the very first, according to Mahou, is a 1966 Mahou Tsukai Sally, which I have heard of before actually. It's already on my plan to watch, as you can see. I saw someone post on Twitter about this with like a video of the opening, and it was really, really cool. In fact, I want to look it up now. I don't want to die for them to miss me. Like, alright, come on. Alright, second time's the charm. So I watched the first episode of Mahou Tsukai Sally, and it was great. I liked it a lot. Like the aesthetic, the characters, the sense of humor, soundtrack, all of it was really fun. So this episode starts off with introducing us to Sally, who is a witch, or a witch in training, I suppose, in some sort of fantasy land. That's what you're seeing right now, actually. And her parents are pretty strict. They want her to study, while Sally wants to go see the human world for the first time. She's fascinated with the human world and wants to go there. Her mother's busy, her dad's away, and when no one's looking, she pops off to the human world, and it starts off being kind of a fish out of water type of story, as she meets these two other girls. I'm forgetting their names. It takes me a bit to learn names, but she meets two other girls and is trying to befriend them. They're a little weirded out because she doesn't really understand what's considered normal. Like, they ask her where she lives, and she's confused. She sees one of the girls eating an ice cream, so she just magics herself an ice cream for herself when they're not looking, and they're like, how'd that happen? Various stuff like that. The magic in this show seems to work in a pretty... I don't really see the constraints of it. It seems like they can just poof anything to be any way they want it. She's pretty OP, if you will. And so she ends up, getting to know them, and they come over to visit her house. Obviously, she doesn't have a house, so she just, on the spot, makes up a place for her house to be, and then runs over and magics herself a house before they get there. And very suspicious things, like, they're always like, this doesn't seem quite right, but it's not enough to totally convince them that something's 100% wrong. Then her friends go. They find out one of the friends realizes she left a bag at the mall that she had been at earlier, and they go over there, but it's closed. But Sally's like, let's go anyway, because Sally doesn't really, again, understand what's considered normal or acceptable or expectation, stuff like that, which makes her a really likable character, because she's nice, she's playful, but she also has like that fun level of like ignorance mixed with the playfulness that creates entertaining situations while also making her a fun character to watch in the situations. And she often does this little like giggle that is just immensely charming and won over my heart immediately.
Okay, I can die now.
They go over there, and surprise, surprise, some burglars are robbing the place. And so the two girls who are separated from Sally get tied up, and Sally finds out, and she ends up saving them. Now, also what happens is her younger brother, I think, is sent by the angry dad, to come and get her and bring her back. And he ends up helping her stop the robbers. And what ends up happening is that basically the second half of the episode is just a long sequence of Sally and her more sadistic younger brother. Because Sally's more playful, her younger brother's more like, yeah, these guys are bad, let's make them suffer. Basically just harassing and torturing these guys with all sorts of, wacky, magic happenings. It's pretty funny, it's entertaining. I think it drags on maybe a little too long, but I was amused. I was definitely amused by it. And then, they wake up, the girls got knocked out when they saw the guys because they were spooked. So they wake them up, the bad guys are gone, day is saved, everybody's happy, and that's the end of the episode. And it was, pretty enjoyable. I think pacing of the second half is not as fun as the first half because it just sort of slows down a bit, but it's mostly just about like fun visuals and stuff. But Sally's really fun and likable. The soundtrack is really kicking. There's a lot of nice bass lines and just groovy tunes in general all across the soundtrack that makes it a lot of fun. And I really like the aesthetic of the background art, which has this very flat, angular style to it. It reminds me of Arumachi Kado, which was a short animation that's also really good. Maybe not quite as refined as that short had, but this one, I really like the look of it. It's got this sort of futuristic kind of feel to the aesthetic while also being clearly of an older time. Like, it's not trying to be set in the future, but it has that sort of feel to its visuals. Like the retro future aesthetic, I mean, when it comes to its background art. It's really cool. It was a lot of fun. I'm gonna watch some more episodes and see how it goes, but I'm digging it. I just finished watching episode 6 of Mahou Tsukai Sally. There's only 7 episodes translated. I think there's like a couple episodes, like it's like episode like 43 through 46 or something like that. But I don't really like watching episodes out of sequence, even if it is an episodic show. It's just, I don't really jive with it. So I'm probably going to be putting the show on hold for now until there's more episodes subtitled. Unfortunately, episode 7 was the last one that I saw subtitled, and that came out like 8 months ago, if I'm remembering correctly. So, seems that no one is currently in the process of translating this, though I hope that changes soon because it was still good. Some of the latter episodes of these 6 that I watched were not as good as I'd say the first 3 were the strongest episodes by a good margin, but I did like them all. I thought they all had really just fun characters, entertaining, good soundtrack, good animation. Like all the points I was bringing up after episode 1, it's pretty much the same old, same old. It's very formulaic, but still really likable. The humor is somewhat sadistic, but it also is pretty, like, it knows when to be heartfelt. Like, it's clear that these cast of characters, even though, like, for instance, the 3 twins, which are the younger brothers of Sally's friend Yoshiko, they're kind of troublemakers and pranksters, but at their heart they do care. Like, there's a reason that they always put up a front in front of the adults of being good, but it's really clear that they do care about their Sally and Sally's, younger brother. Or for instance, on the matter of Sally's younger brother, who came, and I mentioned in the first section of this, he initially seems to just hate humans in general, but in episode 2 and 3, we see him sort of warming up to humans as he meets people who he begins to feel empathy for, because before he just views them all as inferior to their magical people kind. But, he changes his mind. Like the three brothers, younger brothers of Yoshiko, well, the thing is, Yoshiko is their older sister, and she's doing a lot of work. They're a poor family. Their mother's dead. Their father works a low-income job. So, they're pitiful. They don't have the best life, and stuff like that adds a little bit of emotional nuance to everything that makes it much more enjoyable and has me emotionally invested. Even though I know it's vaguely going through the motions, you do still get some sense that it's not just one story playing on repeat. It doesn't really feel like everybody gets reset, which is a good feeling. I like the feeling of a progression without a progression, if you will. It's a good formula. Sally continues to be the best girl ever made. She is so immensely likable. It's this combination of like complete confidence, because as someone who can use magic, and magic in this setting is really, really powerful, she's for the most part pretty unconcerned when it comes to the affairs of humans. Like, as in, she cares about them and she wants to help people, but if they run into a bad guy, as they so often do, because oftentimes the structure is like a setup with some, slice of life, like just fun daily elements, and then bad guy comes in and there's some sort of slapstick like fight sequence that goes on for a while, with lots of different creative ways that Sally and her younger brother find to torture these bad dudes with their magic powers. It's always pretty creative and fun to watch, and that sort of like smugness that Sally has, while also being very ignorant about the world around her, because the human world is new to her, so she's very blunt, and I think that makes her character really satisfying, because there's a lot of sort of emotions we have in life, just like social expectations and social actions, like we acquiesce to certain people just because of the pressure or the idea of what's going to happen. Sally's not going to do any of that. Like, that was particularly apparent in one episode where there's a bully that's like trying to harass her, and she's just not having it. She's like, I said sorry, like, what do you want from me? That's I gave you that. like after she bumps into him, he's like, "You're gonna need to give me, I'm gonna beat you up," and then obviously, he's the one that ends up getting beat up. So it's that attitude is really likable because she's really interested in everything that's happening, and it's all very like there's that delightful curiosity, but it's not fully. It's like a mix of naivete and also having this deeper knowledge because she is really skilled at magic, and she's always able to come up with like the snide comeback and stuff like that. So it suits her well, makes her a really fun, memorable, and unique character. She stands out. She definitely does not blend in with every other magical girl type of character. She's much more tomboyish, and less, I guess, unintelligent is the word I would use. I think for a lot of shows like these, usually it's more about the girl overcoming some sort of like issue, like they get blessed with this like magical power, or rather they get this responsibility put upon them and they have to rise to the situation. Usually they're not the smartest or the best and they have to figure out how to use their powers, and it's more about like someone who views themselves as useless rising to the occasion and becoming someone better. Whereas in Sally's case, she already is essentially like on a higher tier than human beings, and she's more coming down to human level and is interested in learning about this world and learning about these people and just having a good time. That's really what it's about. It's about having a good time. She likes humans, she likes the human world, and she just wants to hang out and have some fun. It's a great show. I definitely recommend checking out the episodes that are out. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I laughed plenty. It's good. And also OP and ED are bangers. It's a good one. I hope more episodes of this get subtitled because I would definitely be down to watch more of them. Well, I think that leaves it for today's first episode. Maybe I'll cover multiple series in later episodes, but I think for this one it makes sense. I think I've had enough to say that this could fit into one. But if you enjoyed the series, if you want to see more of it, let me know in the comments. Maybe share it. I'm not sure. I mean, my second channel doesn't have as many subscribers, so obviously the reach is limited, but I am very much a person who is motivated by however much response I get to things because I have so many different interests that's sort of the only way besides pure impulse that I have to judge how I want to spend my time. So let me know. But with all that said and done, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Mahou no mambo, Mahou no mambo, Mahou no mambo, Mahou no mambo, Mahou no kuni wa ii na. 魔法はいいな、楽しいわ。姿を消せばいいと空は。何でもかんでもやる放題。夢の種をパッパッ